The eyes, Precipe's light violet eyes and the red ones, met in the air. Precipe. As soon as his voice rang out as he called her name, Fenric rushed towards her without the slightest hesitation. Duke Fenric. What happened? How did he get here so quickly? She had thousands of questions to ask him, but she couldn't think of any of them. All she felt was an urgent desire to reach Fenric, who now stood in front of her. But Vidar's hand was faster than Presepe's steps. Suddenly he released his grip on her shoulder and extended his hand. From his palm emerged a thick black mist, wrapping around her as if it were a barrier encircling her. She instinctively knew that touching this mist would bring her nothing but destruction, and she also understood that Vidar used his power to bind her in place. Fenric. Vidar stared at Fenric, his blue eyes burning with a terrifying intensity. There was more anger in their glare than he had given off when he looked at Presepe before. It was pure murder shining in his eyes. Yes. Everything went awry because of you. Vidar muttered in a voice drowned in darkness, as if uttering his curses. You are a being who has not been given any role in this world, who is worth nothing more than an insignificant insect. And yet you continue to. I don't know, but I don't agree with you. Fenric replied as he stared directly into Vidar's eyes, his voice steady and cutting. I'm not like you, Vidar. Do you now understand your limits? No, what I mean is that I am different from you from the beginning. You only move according to what is set for you, as a programmed value, unable even to control your feelings. As for me, what? At least I chose Presepe willingly. I approached her with my heart. As for you? My will. I also put Presepe in my heart. I also chose it of my own free will. None of this was forced on me. But despite his inner cries, Vidar's blue eyes were trembling violently, as if what Fenric had said had pierced his heart. A roleless being, an insignificant insect? Fenric said sarcastically, a sour smile gracing his face. So, you who live only to fulfill your assigned role, and move according to what has been assigned to you, do you think you are better than an insect? What on earth is he saying? Did they know? Both of them? That this world is artificial? And that they are two characters with a predetermined role? Since when? And how? The one who doesn't understand his limits is you, Vidar. If you are just a puppet who moves according to what is assigned to you, then what right do you have to say those words to me? Vidar felt something strange in his chest. A trivial arrow stab was not supposed to affect him, nor should any wounds like this inflict on his body. However, his heart fell with a resounding heaviness, as if he had fallen to the ground. A hateful feeling, a feeling even more painful than the realization that Presepe had tried to escape from him. Perhaps this was because Fenric's words were true, and because he could not find any argument to refute them. But still, Vidar was not ready to admit the truth. Fenric's face clutching his sword was reflected above Vidar's blue eyes. In that moment, remember. When Ivan was killed and began to wander, then he met Fenric for the first time. That day he revealed the truth, that Presepe's real goal was to escape from this world. Even on that day, Fenric attacked him. Just like he did now, sticking the arrow into his chest. In this world, no one could harm Vidar, except Vidar himself. As for Fenric's ability to attack him, this is because he is no longer subject to the game's authority. Fenric must have known that fact. So he dared to rush towards him without the slightest fear. But I can kill you too. Vidar's eyes sparkled with a dark gleam. If death is your wish, I will grant it. No sooner had he finished his words than countless monsters emerged from the depths of the forbidden forest. Even the knights who spent their lives camped in the middle of the forbidden forest, and even Fenric who roamed the battlefields against enemies and monsters, had never seen such numbers. Dragon. This is impossible. It is true that the movements in the forest were not normal, but it was only a few days ago that it was completely burned down. Those are legendary monsters from ancient times. If we stay here, we will be wiped out. The place turned into an arena of complete chaos. The knights, the soldiers that Dietrich had sent from the palace, and Fenric's own soldiers, all paralyzed with terror, their mouths wide open. But there was no time to be astonished. As soon as the monsters appeared, they began to chase and kill people, causing blood to spread everywhere. While everyone was struggling to stay, Vidar advanced towards Fenric with steady steps without any hesitation. I can kill anyone. Fenric gripped his sword with a twitching hand, its veins prominent, as he muttered, even if it was the Demon King himself. He quickly raised his sword and swung it into the air, and at the same time Vidar extended his hand. As before, the sharp blade pierced Vidar's side precisely. He was never used to being attacked, so he didn't even think about defending himself. All he had in his heart was to kill Fenric. Even when the sword pierced his body and came out the other side, Vidar did not push his opponent away. Rather, it came closer and closer. When the blade sank as far as its hilt into his body, only then did Vidar raise his hand, which was constantly emitting black mist, and grabbed Fenric by the neck. He wanted to kill him as painfully as possible. Not to kill him quickly with magic that suffocates his breath, but very slowly. He dug his long nails into Fenric's neck as if he wanted to break his vertebrae. Burning smoke billowed from his burning skin. Fenric's features shared bitter pain, but he remained composed. His determination to kill was no less than Vidar's. In a fleeting moment, Fenric pulled something out of its folds and stuck it just below Vidar's neck. Suddenly Vidar showed a reaction that no one expected, not even Fenric himself. A look of extreme pain appeared on his face, and his body swayed violently. This did not happen when the arrow pierced his stomach or when the sword tore his side. His eyes looked towards the weapon embedded in his body. It was not an ordinary sword, but a small dagger studded with precious stones, shining with an opulence that was completely unbecoming of Fenric. You. From his half-parted lips, an exhale sounded like a roar. As his nails came out, two sharp horns emerged from his head, and his pupils dilated like the eyes of monsters. The waves of black mist grew more widespread, and greater monsters than before poured out of the forest. No, no. Stuck inside the barrier, Precipe's face turned pale. She had never seen Vidar reveal his true colors in such a terrifying way in her life. He seemed to be immersed in a frenzied madness consumed by boundless rage. If this continues, everyone will die. Not only Fenric, but all the innocent people around them as well. No one will survive. If the danger threatened her life alone, she would have endured more. But that is no longer the case. She felt her body burning, as it had done the day she was pierced by the flames of the fire that Ivan had lit. Smoke rose from her torn clothes, and the edges of her dress turned into flying ash. Pain racks her body. Strangely, her tears fell. She didn't know if it was because of the intense pain, or because of the smoke that stung her eyes, or because the whole situation was unbearable, or because she couldn't reach Fenric even though he was close to her. Vidar, stop. She approached him and threw her arms around his back, hugging him to keep him from going any further. Please. I will return to the Forbidden Forest with you. Just stop. Return the monsters back to where they came from, and leave the Duke and the people alone. Precipe. Her tears fell as she stared at Fenric. False. Vidar replied, his voice filled with anger. I won't believe you anymore. Please. Please, just once. The gnashing of his teeth drowned out his silence, as he thought, are you going to abandon me again? Will you run away again, calling Fenric's name, as you did before? He felt a strange pain tearing at his heart, the likes of which he had never known in all his long life. Perhaps because he had never suffered such a fatal blow before. But Fenric was not alone in trouble. After he swayed to his feet, Vidar violently grabbed Precipe by the shoulders, cradled her in his arms, and together they disappeared into the thick black fog. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Attack them. Kill the monsters. We have to protect this place at all costs. The commander and the emperor will arrive soon. And with them are the priests. Hold on. But a large number of monsters continued to fill the place, and cries of terror and calls for help rang out in the blood-soaked village. In the midst of the chaos, one man stood still and unmoving. Fenric. He understood why Presepe left with Vidar. He also understood that it was probably the wisest choice. Unlike him, Presepe was not the type to sacrifice others. That's why she helped him in their first meeting. But the feeling of loss, seeing her taken from his hands again, was terrible. Duke Fenric, some knights stained with monster blood approached him, their faces were shocked. What did we just see? What was that creature?